Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Monday morning, and I forgot my other coffee cup in the tractor yesterday. It's October 16th. Hopefully, you guys have had a great weekend. Got rejuvenated, got rested up. I still been working on the addition in the front porch area. They went from a simple porch design to the Taj Mahal. Uh, Hopefully, today the guys will be there to put the siding on. I got a couple guys that I try to help out. They need to work. Claude and I can throw the siding on pretty quickly. Done it a number of times. I've built 3 houses. But if I can help them out and they can do a decent job, I'm not looking for, top of the line there. Because my grandfather always told me, he said, you can always tell a skilled carpenter. I said, how's that, Grant? The skilled carpenter always knows how to cover his mistakes. And that's carpentry. So I thought today I would talk about, with you, what makes people follow other people and how do you get people to do what you would like them to do? Not want them to do, what you would like them to do. So stay tuned. This goes even back to my farming days. That's how far back I can, talk about this subject. Because I had to get people to do what I would like them to do in order to accomplish a lot of tasks on the farm. And the big one was haying season. We had square bales to handle, 17,000 to be exact. And we had to get them from point A to point B. And that was point A in the field. We had to cut the hay, rake the hay, bale the hay, haul the hay, and then have people in the mow up in the barn putting it away. So it took teamwork of trying to get people to do what you wanted them to do. And it used to frustrate me back then because I didn't think that I had to spell things out for people. This isn't rocket science, folks. If you're up in the hay mow, there's only one way to stack hay, and that's you go one direction and then you switch it so that it's locking everything in so the whole mow doesn't fall in. You want it stacked properly. And it was really bothering me. And my wife finally said, did you ever show them how? Tell them how you wanted them to do it? No, I just assumed that. There you go with that word, assumed. Makes an ass out of you and me. And she was right. They didn't know the proper way. And she told me, she said, you worry about getting the hay to the barn, and I'll take care of the guys, the younger guys that are working for me in the barn. And the efficiency increased like twofold. Pissed me right off. I'm thinking, what the hay, hey. But she told them how she wanted it done. She let them know that they were doing a great job and how much she appreciated them. And come the end of the day, not only did they get paid, but she would take off an hour early from what they were doing, run into town, grab a couple great big pizzas, sodas, and show back up before they had that finished and sit down and everybody would have pizza and soda. And the ones that worked in the hay mow, usually the worst job, they loved it with her because she appreciated what they did. And she let them know that she appreciated. See, there's a couple different ways of trying to approach things, and a lot of times my wife was way smarter in business than I was because she understood people. I understood business, dollars and cents and trying to get stuff done. But in the early years, in my 20s, in her 20s, she was in her late teens at the time, she knew how to communicate well to the people that were working for us of exactly what needed to be done, how it needed to be done, why it needed to be done. And the rewards were just enough. I think those boys would have worked for free for my wife because of how much that she appreciated them and they felt appreciated. That's a hard thing in life, We all love encouragement and, to feel good. And if you're an employee, you want to feel like you're valued. But that deal there, with my wife showed me that I needed to develop a little more people skills and to let people know what I wanted done, and then let them know that they're appreciated. Let them know that they're valued to you. Now, there's a balance there. And I know Amos is going to say this, so I'm just going to put it out there. When I joined the workforce, one of the first things I learned, and I was a go-getter when I was employed for other people, is that you're expendable. You can be replaced. So the minute you start getting a little cocky, or, they can't do it without me, is the time they're going to do it without you. Okay? So there's a fine line of being appreciated, but then not pushing it back into other people's face that it can't be done unless you're there, I guess is the right word. It's one of the things that always pushed me in everything I did when I was younger is just knowing that no matter how good I got, how great I got, I always kept here that I was expendable and replaceable. And I had to prove my worth every day to that company, to myself, and to my coworkers. I'm not talking about the guys that you have at work that are brown nosers that don't do any work but are buddies with the boss or the owner. No, I'm not talking about that group. And I'm not talking about the group of guys or gals that do things to make their other employees look bad. I was never that way. I actually help make my fellow employees look good. When I would get done with my job, and I saw other things that needed to be done, the last thing that clicked in my head was, that's not my job. Because my job was to put in, during the winter months, we work 4 tens, actually 5 tens, but 4 tens. That I never felt that helping other people out with trying to get their work caught up too fell into that category. And I saw a lot of guys and gals over the years and when I was employed of say, well, that's not my job. You have to make, it's a balancing act. It's like a tight wire. You want to excel, but not at the expense of other people. And by that point, I had learned quite a bit from my grandfather and my wife on people skills, interactions, because I tended to be a shy kid. I stayed to myself. I love fishing by myself. I get on my bicycle and ride down to the grass river and catch brown trout and bass. And when I wasn't doing that, I was running a small trap line on a bicycle and then on foot and then on snowshoe. It was just down the road from us. So my people skills never got a lot of action. My older brother, he was like the opposite. That he had a bunch of friends that they all hung together and did things together, and I was always the quiet one, that was helping everybody. And that was what I got to be known for when I was younger. And people would compliment to my grandfather of how nice and well-mannered and helpful and yada yada. I was probably all the above, but I was still a loner. So I had to develop those skills somewhere to succeed. It all comes to be like a full circle. Whether you're someone that is running a shop right now, and a lot of the information, a lot of the advice that I try to push across this channel isn't strictly for small engine. It applies to all walks of life. And that is, if you want to be a good owner, or you want to be a good manager, a boss, then you need to sit down with the group that you're over and spell out exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And if you really value your employees, they will know. And they will rise to the occasion. If you don't value your employees, if I know some jobs that I had, excuse the word, but shit runs downhill, then don't expect your employees to come through for you when you're not willing to go to bat for them, because they're not appreciated. I'm not saying that if somebody screws up that they shouldn't have what they've done explained to them if they don't know what they've done. And but that's where it should stop. You as a owner or manager have to lead. And you have to lead in such a way that your employees, your workforce, is willing to follow you and not there just for a paycheck. I worked with guys that were just there for a paycheck. And they had skills that could have helped that business out. But they decided not to give them help because they were just there for a paycheck. They didn't care about the business. But one of the first things that I started doing as a boss, an owner, was we would sit down even weekly and discuss what our goal was for the week and I didn't hear any, that's not my job. Everybody chipped in. Everybody felt appreciated because I let them know how much I appreciated them. And I live by example of, if we had a lot of orders that came through online the night before, you would find me, printing, packaging, and shipping to help out that crew get caught up. And we'd laugh, we'd talk while we're doing it. You don't want to stifle your workforce. You want to treat them like family. You want to lead by example of that even you're willing to do it. And explain what the tasks are, how you want it accomplished. Whether it be the lowest on the totem pole as far as just getting stuff ready to ship. We had developed, with the help of my crew, job descriptions of how to do this and how to do that. I didn't sit down and write down the whole thing. I asked the group, if we have somebody new come in, how should we describe the job and what they should be doing? And that's how we got our job descriptions, so that when we got a new employee, they knew exactly how we wanted it done. And everybody chipped in on helping that person develop the skills needed to do that job. I've always approached things with people of, if we're trying to accomplish a task, of sitting down and just looking at people of what's their strength and what's their weakness. If the weakness is communicating with other people because they always felt like they needed to make the other person happy, I didn't want them as customer service answering the phone. I wanted somebody answering the phone that would be honest with our customers. And if we didn't have it in stock, how long they were looking. If it was going to be a 2-3 week out, be honest, tell them. And people excelled by just following that logic. And that's how you become a good boss and a good owner. And a leader. A leader leads by example. A leader doesn't take the credit for the team. He gives the team the credit. Right? During the Afghan and Iraqi war, we saw a lot of leaders. And there's always been this discussion of, are leaders born, or is it something that it's a learned behavior? And I've always felt that it's a learned behavior. It's learned it's not for everybody, but it's not something that you're born with. We're all born the same. But the way I equate it to, and it's a strong way of doing it, is during those two wars, the leaders were the ones that got their people to follow them into battle. That they would do anything for that person. Because they knew that person had their backs. And that they were there for them. And I'm not talking about a popularity contest. You know, there's a difference, all right? The only way I can really show the sides is you have leaders in battle, and then you have influencers online through channels. Now, both have got a following. Both have people, large amounts of people, listening to them, watching them, and so forth. The difference is the influencer, the people following them, subscribing and stuff like that, they're not going to follow them into battle. They're not going to, take a knife for them or what have you. And the minute that person says something that turns that person off, they're going to unsubscribe. No. That's how I can define a leader to you, is the one that's leading people into battle versus an influencer that's got 5 million subscribers. All right. Here's the leader. But the influencer, no. They just offer entertainment value, what have you. So there's a big difference of our leaders. And our leaders are not the influencers. All right? Not politicians either, but they're not the influencers. Influencers are just offering an entertainment outlet. So to bring it full circle, if you want somebody to do something for you, you need to spell it out. Don't assume that they have ESP and they know what your needs are, okay? Let them know that they're appreciated. If people do stuff for you, let them know that you saw it and that you appreciate it. And if people feel like you truly appreciated what they did for you, they do other things for you. But, as my wife taught me, you have to let them know what it is you want done, and then show that you appreciate and value them. Easy peasy, right? A lot of this is just like parenting, You got a child, like a 2-3-year-old, and their favorite word is why. And after a while, you finally say, because I said so. And as they grow older, if you keep holding to that because I said so, when you're telling your teen why they should or shouldn't be doing stuff, instead of explaining to them why they shouldn't be doing and what the effects could be if they continue doing certain things the wrong way. 2-year-olds, because I told you so. But as they get older, you need to let them know what you want them to do. And that they're appreciated. So on that note, you guys have a great Monday. And we'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. All right. You guys have a great day.